What kind of faith is God expecting from us for Him to do a miracle in our life? We all have something that we are still expecting from God. So let's take an example of Abraham. In Romans chapter 4 verse 13 it says, God's promise to give the whole earth to Abraham and his descendants was not based on his obedience to God's law, but on a right relationship with God that comes by faith. Here we can see two keywords, faith and the right relationship with God. So let's talk about what was Abraham's faith. Romans chapter 4 verse 17 it says, This happened because Abraham believed in the God who brings the dead back to life and who creates new things out of nothing. Abraham believed the power of God that he can create anything out of nothing. This was a primary belief that God saw in him and counted that faith as righteousness. We see this same creative power of God mentioned in Hebrews chapter 11 verse 3. By faith we understand that the entire universe was formed at God's command, and what we now see did not come from anything that can be seen. This word clearly shows that God created everything from nothing visible, not from any pre-existing materials. Let's go back to Genesis to see this power of God in action. In Genesis chapter 1 verse 5 it says, God called the light day and the darkness night, and evening passed and morning came, marking the first day. One thing we need to notice here is that God already called it evening and morning on the first day, but He created the sun and moon on the fourth day. From a human perspective, how can someone call it evening or morning until the sun rises or sets? But here, by God's power, He had already set the motion of time in place before the source of light, which is the sun, even exists. This shows our God doesn't need any pre-existing things to create something new. His word is sufficient. So this is the kind of faith that God is expecting from us, even when our reality doesn't match with our promise or what we're praying or expecting for. When we look at the life of Abraham, in verse 18 we can see, even there was no reason for hope, Abraham kept hoping, and he believed that he would become the father of many nations, just as God promised him. At that point, Abraham could have had many questions for God, because he knew his own body was in good condition and Sarah's womb was weak. But still, he never wavered in believing God's promise. He was fully convinced that God is able to do whatever He promises. He believed in the power of God, that God can do anything. He is able to create something out of nothing. Maybe we don't even see a glimpse of hope that something in our life is possible or could ever work out. But God doesn't need any pre-existing thing to make it happen or to find a solution to our problem. Just like Abraham, God is looking for that same kind of faith in us so that He can do the miracle. Jesus said in Mark chapter 11 verse 24, Whatever you ask in prayer, believe that you have received it and it will be yours. Abraham believed that he would become a father of nation before he ever had a child. Noah built the ark for the flood before a single drop of rain came. And God created morning and evening before the sun and moon even existed. So first, we need to believe in what we have prayed for or whatever we are expecting from God. In here it says, when you believe you have received, it will be yours. That means the moment we believe, the answer is already released. We just haven't seen the manifestation yet. We see this same principle in Genesis chapter 1. God called the first day morning and evening, but the sun wasn't created yet. He called the second and the third day the same. Morning and evening, still no sun. Only on the fourth day He created the sun and the moon. Sometimes the manifestation of our answer may not show up until the fourth day, but God already heard your prayer and set your answer in motion on the first day itself. Our faith and actions are the main two things that bring that answer from the spiritual realm into the physical world. God bless you.